Welcome to Dreamifesting, where we awaken to the power of our dreams. I'm your host, Dr. Dream, Kelly Sullivan Walden. So what is Dreamifesting? It's the fusion of manifesting and spirituality, taking inspired action toward your desires fueled by dreams. It's also the title of my new book. After writing it, I realized I had a lot more to say. That's why in every episode, we explore the intersection of sleep and awake, spirit and science, and yes, the holy and the guacamole. So grab your journal, light a candle, and get ready to dreamifest, because as you are lifted, all are lifted. Welcome to the show today. I'm so excited to be interviewing and having a lucid dreaming conversation with Amina. And if you're watching, see her beautiful face right there. So I've been hearing about Amina regarding the IASD. She's hello. And I was told that, you know what, you really need to talk to Amina. Amina's got a lot going on. And in reading her bio, I'm like, oh my God, how come we haven't connected before? Amina Mara is a dream researcher and lucid dream coach, known for her deep passion and expertise in the realm of dreams and consciousness. Amina has been lucid dreaming since childhood, which led to a lifelong journey of exploring the dream space and understanding the power of dream work. With a background in psychology from Emory University, Amina went on to focus on lucid dreaming for creative inspiration during her master's thesis. Her love for dreams and consciousness drives her to help pave the way for this emerging field of research. During the 2020 pandemic, she founded the Dream World, an platform that encourages dialogue and knowledge sharing on a community interested in dream exploration. She's also the #1 international best-selling co-author of the book Divine Dreamers. The Dream World has released a 3-month online course and membership group for lucid dreaming and consciousness exploration. Amina invites individuals of all generations to connect, learn, and uncover the profound truths about spirituality, life, and consciousness as a whole. Welcome to Dreamifesting, Amina. So happy to have you on the show today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
So let's talk about what I decided to call this show is Lucid Dream Insider Hacks. So I know everybody at this point knows what lucid dreaming is, but let's just start with the basics. In your opinion or from your experience, what is lucid dreaming? Let's start there.
Yeah, it's a good place to start. It's basically when you're in a dream and you know that it's a dream. A lot of people think it means dream control, but that's not necessarily true. It's just knowing that you're in a dream, and then you can sometimes build on that and control the dream and do all this fun, spiritual, whatever, all this cool stuff. But knowing the awareness that you're dreaming is the basis.
That's the basis. Okay, so there's a lot of people that have had lucid dreaming in their lives, but they don't necessarily dedicate their lives to the lucid dreaming research. What was it about lucid dreams that fueled your passion to research this and use it with your master's thesis?
Well, I've been a lucid dreamer since I was a child, which I consider myself lucky to be kind of like a natural. I was having lucid dreams at a very young age. So I was always curious about them, and I always wanted to like explore them further. So I just kind of started building on that skill. So I've had lots of years of experience. And then once I started studying psychology and learning more about like the science of the brain and what's happening while we sleep, I got just more fascinated about this interesting hybrid state of consciousness that we know of as lucid dreaming. So I started to just deepen my practice and learn about inducing it and how to do different things in the dream. And then now I take that skill and teach other people how to lucid dream, because even though I'm a natural, I still believe that anybody can do it.
So what do you find? Well, let's start with one of your first like really big lucid dreams, or one that was exceptional to you that stands out to you. Is there a particular lucid dream you could
Yeah,
talk
it's
about?
so hard to pick because there's so many amazing dreams that I love. But I'll name like a few, just kind of how the journey evolved. It started off when I was a kid with nightmares. Like I would have these really scary nightmares, and then I would just become aware that it was a dream. And I used to just wake myself up and kind of end the dream. But then when I discovered that I could like do a lot more with this and explore this further, I started to discover all the amazing possibilities of things I can use lucid dreaming for. Um, and there's a lot of practical things you can do, but for me particular, I had some really profound lucid dreams kind of when I started expanding on my spiritual journey. I started going into my dreams and seeking spirit guides and, guidance in certain aspects of my life. So some of those were probably my most profound lucid dreams where I got interesting answers, advice on what steps I should take in my life. And I would speak to my ancestors, not just like my grandparents, but more generations behind that are supporting me. So those were some of the most profound that really brought a lot of healing and clarity into my life.
Okay, so I don't know if you can answer this, but let's see if you can try. Could you imagine the version of Amina that doesn't lucid dream and didn't ever have lucid dreams versus the one who has lucid dreams and who can commune with her ancestors and beyond? Like, what's the difference between these two different versions of Amina?
Wow, I feel like it's a completely different version of me because lucid dreaming and just dreams in general is such a huge part of my life and who I am. But maybe there's different versions of ourselves out there. So if that is the case, I send love to that version of me because
Right.
maybe she has her own other passions. But it's the lucid dreaming is amazing, and I definitely feel like those who have never experienced it are missing out and should try it at least once. So hopefully I can send lucid energy to that alternate reality version of myself because I'm very happy with my dream life in general.
Mm, that's great. When I think about that answer for myself, I think about how who I am when I'm just simply in my logical state, like rational and organized and, in my version of organized, but just kind of checking the boxes and doing all the things versus who I am when I'm dreaming and what my dreaming opens me to. I just feel like it's like you're right, like sending prayers to that part because it's there. It might look similar, but it's just a drier, more rigid, more stressed out reality.
Yeah. Do you
So
have lucid dreams as well?
not on the regular. I've had a handful of them and they happen accidentally. And so I wouldn't call myself a lucid dreamer per se, although I know, like last night, I had an extraordinary flying dream that had some lucidity in it, not a full awareness, but a little bit of an awareness and like a commentary, kind of like a conscious mind that was making notes about what was happening and made sure that I remembered these things when I woke up. But I didn't interact with it from a lucid state. So I wouldn't call that lucid dreaming, but it was incredibly vivid. And I feel like my waking self is trying to bleed through so that there's more overlap. So what would you say to somebody like me? What would be like somebody who's had a few but isn't not on the regular. So what would your advice be for people like me?
That's perfect. I think that's my favorite type of people to work with because you have such a good foundation. You're already a vivid dreamer. You've had some experience with lucidity. And lucidity is such a wide spectrum. There's so many different types of lucid dreams and different levels of vividness and awareness. So, I would still consider you a lucid dreamer. I would definitely tell somebody like that to have some confidence in your ability as a lucid dreamer because it's not everybody, even me. Nobody's really, not that many people lucid dream every night, every single dream. Most people, it's like every couple of weeks or months or like once a year. That's where most people fall. So I would say really just continue doing what you're doing and just bring more awareness into your daily life with some lucid intentions of like what you want to do next time you get lucid. And it really just takes like a small amount of effort from where you already are. I think you have a really good basis to have more frequent lucid dreams. Like for me, I was having them like once a month for a long time. And then when I really kind of got deeper into my practice, I started having them like once a week or maybe a few times a week. And that's kind of my highest frequency. But right now it's less than that.
Okay, so what is your best, like, sneaky hack for having a lucid dream? If somebody's like, I've tried everything and it's not happening, what would you advise them to do?
Well, usually when somebody says that, I really like to break down exactly what they've tried and how long, and did they, just to really make sure they gave it their best effort. And but there's a lot of really good tips that I give people depending on where they're at. And one of them is really simple. It's just increasing your waking life awareness. Like, how lucid are
Mm.
you throughout the day? And there's,
Ooh,
we know of
ooh.
this technique called reality checks where you kind of test your reality, but I tell people to take that a step further and, like,
Mhm,
almost kind of like pretend like you're lucid, like have a little manifesting moment of, like, if I was in a dream right now, what would I do? How would I
mhm,
carry that out? And even practice it, so that when you're lucid, you already kind of experienced what you're going to do, and, or try or whatever. So kind of taking that practice a step further. And then also, to be lucid, you kind of have to think ahead and plan your brain as you're going to sleep to remember later that you're in a dream. So I kind of tell people to work on things that strengthen that perspective memory, like
mhm.
remembering to do things in the future. So, like, in the beginning of the day, sometimes I like to set myself little targets of when I'll do kind of little reality checks or mindfulness moments. And I try to remember later on in the day, like when I get to work, when I get home, or I like to pair them up as well with dream signs. So, like, if I see cats in my dream often, I'll try to remember to do something later every time I see a cat or something like that, just to kind of work on that memory, remembering and realizing that you could be potentially in a dream. So, strengthening that thought process can kind of carry over. And it sounds a little complicated, but it really just boils down to mindfulness.
Right, that's what it boils down to. So, having the thought about what you might do if you were to become lucid, and even thinking about it, getting excited about the possibility of lucid dreaming and where you might take it, and even becoming more lucid in your waking reality. And one little thing I do every day, and I tell this to my dreamifesting students in my workshops, is to set your alarm to a time every day that will be like a number that you like 11:11 or 4:44 or 3:33, so that when that alarm goes off, that's kind of like a lucid moment where you stop what you're doing. And this is what I've been doing. This might seem crazy, but I do something strange at 11:11. Like, I move my body in a different way every time. I do something just to break out of my routine and to kind of break my neuro pathway from whatever it is I'm focused on, like, wow, do bouncing around, and then even thinking about something that is exciting for me that I'm wanting my dreams to propel me toward, even if it's just like a 20-second little mindfulness meditation that might look crazy to an observer, like, oh my God, this girl was totally serious on her computer and then she's like dancing around. But like, to do something in the day that is like a reminding ourselves that, oh yes, this is all a dream, and we can have some say in the matter that might be different than our ordinary response. What do you think of that? Is that completely crazy?
Yeah, no, I love it. I think that's perfect. I do that too sometimes. Like, I'll just kind of, as a reality check, I'll just jump up and try to fly. And, it kind of gets me ready because sometimes I do that in a dream and then I do fly. So it really is helpful. And I think it's good to just kind of, let loose, appreciate the moment a little bit. So I think, yeah, that's pretty much a good practice to have. And, in general, having a plan of what you want to do in your dream just really helps to set the intention and, like, incubate it. And I tell people to be specific, like, instead of just saying, like, oh, you know, look for my ancestors. Like, what are you going to say to them? What are you going to ask them? Like, how are you going to find them? Try to have, like, a specific plan.
Oh, I love that. That is, yeah, have a specific plan. In fact, I was just talking to Linda Yale Schiller yesterday, who I believe is speaking at the IASD. Um, and we were talking about ancestral dreams. And I just met somebody that had, that started, like, he's kind of like a normal guy living a normal life, but he had the idea before going to bed to do a little prayer for his ancestors. And he said something like, let my dreams help me to help you if there's any unfinished business. And any unfinished business, any energy, any whatever you need help with, how can I help you? Let me do it in the dreams. And his dreams started to become epic, so vivid, like they took a different turn, and so many blessings started to come into his life. So I think there's something about the service component, because I think from my experience in the literature about lucid dreaming, there's a lot of like, well, have sex with somebody if you're lucid, like make $1 million, learn to fly, do something that would scratch the itch of a personal desire, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think there's something that amplifies our consciousness when we think, how might I serve? How might I offer something to somebody who's hurting right now? I don't know. I think I'm feeling like we're onto something with this, with getting specific about how we might support and help. What do you think about that, Amina?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's so many things you can use lucid dreaming for. And like you said, some people start off with doing all the fun stuff, all like the
Yeah.
superficial desires, and
Right,
it's
right,
great, get it out your system. I still do that sometimes. But you
right.
go through phases, like sometimes you realize like how profound the space can be and that you can really bring healing to yourself and others, working in this space. So you really start to think more intentionally about what am I using my dream space for? And my waking space for that matter. So yeah, it's truly amazing, like the things you can do in a lucid dream. You can plan for your life, you can rehearse arguments or presentations or whatever it is, things that have real life, waking life benefits. So yeah, I
Right,
think it's good to be intentional with that.
right. And even if our intention is to be open to what spirit has in store, like when all else fails, a thy will be done doesn't hurt. If somebody can't think of anything, when I'm like, what do I do? Oh, thy will be done. There's always something.
Yeah.
There's always
Yeah,
something that,
sometimes the most powerful dreams that I don't have a certain agenda, or I don't go exert my ego onto the dream. I just observe and I see what the dream has to offer, take in any messages there, and I really just try to memorize as much as
yeah,
possible by just watching without intervening. And that is so powerful sometimes too. Just let the dream show you what it wants.
that's great. Okay, so with regards to lucid dreaming hacks for people that just are like getting ruthless, like just tell me how to do it. I want to go back to one of the things you said right out of the gate was that your lucid dreaming started with nightmares. And I have heard this over and over again. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say my big hunch about maybe the lowest hanging fruit we have is those dreams that we feel are just awful, that we, instead of wishing them away, we might say, oh my God, there's gold in them, there hills. What if a nightmare is an invitation for lucid dreaming? So, how would you respond to that? And how did you let your nightmare help you become a lucid dreamer?
Yes, you're so right. There's a lot of potential with nightmares, a lot of healing gifts that they bring. And one of those is this lucidity potential. So for me, I just started to, I had nightmares a lot and I had sleep paralysis and things like that for many years. So I kind of got used to it, for one. And I would just kind of realize that it's just dream, it's happening again. Like I would kind of have recurring themes. So that helped me to recognize the themes more and more every time as they would start popping up. So if you have nightmares that are kind of similar, that's actually a benefit, is what I tell people, because you can use that to remind yourself, like, oh, this again, it must be a dream. And also for me, it's based on the emotions. So that stressful, heightened emotions, anger, anxiety, sadness, terror, and horror, whatever it is, I don't feel that often in waking life. It's not often that I'm in this bomb situation or like, this war zone or whatever nightmare content. So I've kind of trained my brain whenever I feel this way, like do a reality check. Like I'm even hoping, like, I hope this is a dream every time I am in that situation. Like 99% of the time it's a dream, because I'm never in these crazy situations during waking life. So I've trained my brain to automatically think that, during nightmares, and especially with the recurring themes. So it can take some time and some mental effort, especially if somebody is very these nightmares are really affecting their psyche and they're very stressed out and they're fearing going to sleep. It can definitely take some energy to overcome that fear. But once you do, there's so much potential. And most people stop having the recurring nightmare after they become lucid and unlock the next level. Oh, I think you're muted.
As if it was a video game, unlock the next
Yes.
level. Like if it's like a reward system, if you can hop over this hill or this obstacle, then you get to go on to the next thing. And becoming lucid is definitely one way to maximize this situation, or to, as I like to say, transform the tragic into magic, like to alchemize it and say, well, maybe this isn't happening to me, maybe it's happening for me. Maybe this is trying to give me something at the very least, because nightmares are so visceral. They're hard to forget. And whereas the rest of dreams can be a little more cloud-like, feather-like, elusive, but nightmares are like grab you by the throat, shake you, and then you're like, I must be dreaming. Oh my God. So maybe nightmares is one really beautiful way to know we're dreaming, know we're in a dream pattern, and then to assert some sense of control. Like, what did you do in one of your dreams, one of your nightmares, that was like kind of the first tiptoe toward lucidity?
Well, at first I would just kind of try to end the dream and just wake myself up. But now that I know better, I recommend people to practice gaining that sense of control, because in the dream, when you literally control the dream, you also gain like a sense of mental control back to over the emotional take that it has on you. So I would either turn around and like ask the monster or whatever, like, why are you chasing me? Like, what do you want from me? And sometimes it would be like, oh, I just wanted to give you a hug or like a cookie or something. Like it actually had something better, positive for me. And I was just scared thinking it was chasing me or whatever the dream was
Right.
presenting. So it would transform, and then I would show it love or, do whatever in the dream. Or sometimes I would just change the scene, but stay in the dream and just walk away and do something fun instead of stay in the scary situation.
Oh my God. You're making me think of a nightmare that I did this with this albino cyclops lumberjack that was chasing me through a forest. Not just an
Wow.
albino, not just a lumberjack, not just a cyclops, but like all of them.
Sounds
And
terrible.
he had this hatchet that he was like going like this, and I'm hiding under this little table. I break into a house and I'm under this little table shaking. I'm like, I'm supposed to ask you what kind of gift you're trying to give me, but I just can't. Why are you trying to kill me? It's like, I'm not trying to kill you. I'm trying to get rid of all this stuff around you. Like all this, it's like all these like spider webby things of like doubt, fear, whatever he was trying. I'm like, so you're an ally? It's like, yeah. God, what was all that running about? And why do you look so scary? And maybe he's albino because he'd been in the closet of my consciousness. He hadn't been integrated yet. I don't know. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you mentioned sleep paralysis, and there may be a connection, again, just like a nightmare, using the opportunity of the fear in a nightmare to be like a diving board, waking up into lucidity. So a lot of people ask about sleep paralysis and what they can do about it. So what do you say as a segue toward lucid dreaming? They can use their sleep paralysis.
Yeah, that was tricky because it's so hard to overcome the fear and that feeling of just being stuck. So I totally relate to how difficult that can be for a lot of people. But what I did was I just kept telling myself every time I would get sleep paralysis, I had like a little mental pep talk for myself. I had done the research. I know what's happening. It's a natural phenomenon that your body does, so while we fall asleep, it's a part of falling asleep. So I knew that it was normal, like nothing weird was happening to me. I wasn't being possessed. It's just part of the hallucination, because a lot of people see scary things during sleep paralysis. So I really gave myself that pep talk every time it happened. And I would just like breathe through it. And I would know that this can lead to a lucid dream. Like I embraced it with the mentality of, let's see what happens if I just stay instead of fight this thing. So I let my body paralyze itself. I let my body fall asleep and I kind of just sank into it. And then I realized that when I started doing that, I would transition through some weird hypnagogic hallucination imagery. That would be part of it. Even some weird sensations through my body. Like it was a very interesting process watching your body fall asleep. And then most of the time, I enter this weird tunnel where like it feels like I'm shooting through another dimension. It's
Wow.
like a roller coaster almost. I don't know how to
Wow.
describe it. It's like a current of energy. And then once I go through this current of energy through this like tunnel thing, I usually end up in a dream. And sometimes it's not always a lucid dream, but a lot of times I'm able to maintain that awareness and it just ends up in a lucid dream or some sort of out of body type experience.
Wow. Oh, that is such a beautiful technique, and the visual of that, instead of resisting it and having this like sheer panic, just falling, kind of dropping into it and going through that tunnel and possibly going into a lucid dream. And if not, just like kind of not resisting it, which is such an interesting thing. I mean, looking at these things that we might put in the category of God, the universe has dropped the ball, something bad is happening here, when it's like, no, no, no. What if there's a great opportunity for lucidity and what that makes of us, like having lucid dreams or vivid dreams that we can have some connection to in our waking life. If you were to put in a nutshell, what does that give to people? What's in it for them to do this kind of practice?
I think a lot of the skills that you get with dream work in general really carry over to, benefits in waking life as well. So, like taking control and being more mindful in your dreams, will help you feel more controlled and mindful in your waking life. And it's kind
Right,
of like an
right.
internal therapist that we all have. There's so much
Mm.
to get out of it. Whatever it is that somebody needs, like dreams can have guidance for you, and especially lucid dreaming. Like there's a lot of healing potential there and growth potential. So yeah, there's just so much that you can get out of it. It's a practice for your brain and your soul, essentially.
Mm. Amina, Mara, I'm so happy that I got connected to you through IASD. Oh my goodness. So you are kind of a big part of the amazing International Association for the Study of Dreams conference. What's your role, and what tell us about the conference that's coming up in June and
Yes.
your part in that.
I'm doing a lot of things. I like to volunteer and get involved and be a part of the conversation. So I'm helping with social media promotion. As you might have seen our videos on there. There's an awesome social media team. So we've just been talking to people and just making content, which is what I love to do. Um, so I will also be helping with a presentation about social media, and I'll be helping another one of my friends with his presentation on mental health. So I'm just kind of not officially presenting or anything, but I'm just in a lot of places helping out and supporting and just helping it come to fruition.
Oh my goodness. Well, you are doing so much. It's so wonderful. So if people don't know yet, because we've been talking about this, in case you haven't heard, go to asdreams.org. That's ASDREAMS.org. And right there on the front page, you'll find out all the information about the upcoming conference. I'm going to pull it up even now so I can tell you exactly what I'm talking about. Um, so the conference, it's an international conference every year, and this year it happens to be virtual. It's June 21st through 25th, and it is wonderful. It attracts all kinds of dream people, from shamans to scientists to scholars to artists. What am I missing? Mystics. What else, Amina, about the
It's the
conference?
whole range, like literally everybody. I love that. Enthusiasts, artists, scientists, everything in between.
Right. It's the coolest group of people, and everybody is, you come there with a dream, and you go to the different seminars, workshops, dream groups, even the dream ball where you get to dress up, and we'll be doing it virtually, so you don't have to schlep a bunch of stuff everywhere, even though that's fun to do too. But by the end of it, there's the level of depth and insight you'll have about whatever dream or dreams you bring will just be evolutionary. it always brings me to the next level of my consciousness. I can almost remember every conference is associated with a particular dream I had that I didn't even know was going to be my deep dive dream. And nobody says you have to do this. This just seems to be what me and a few other people do. And those dreams have changed my life because of the level of depth. Normally, a dream gets a few minutes in the morning from me and I carry it around with me in the day, and that's cool. But this is an opportunity to go all the way in. How about you, Amina?
Oh yeah, going to the conferences have really changed a lot for me. I love the in-person ones because I used to think when I first started podcasting about dreams, like, why is nobody talking about this? Like, this is such cool stuff. Like,
Right.
people need to be talking about this. And now I found a group of people that talk about it. So I feel like we all fit right in.
Obsessively.
Yeah, exactly. And
Right.
I love it. So it's like I found my people. And even though it's online, I'm still attending. It'll be, in person again in the next couple years. So I love getting involved and I love watching this grow because I think it's still so niche, although we're in there. I think for the rest of the world, it's still a very niche concept of research and psychology. So I think it's really an honor to watch it grow into something bigger over the years.
Yes, it is amazing. So, everybody go to asdreams.org. And as we're wrapping up here, Amina, tell people more about how they can find out about you and the Dream World podcast and your 3-month online course and membership group for lucid dreaming and consciousness exploration. What are the best websites and social media?
Yes, thank you. Well, you can find everything on the dreamworldpodcast.com. I have like blogs and free resources, and then my online course is linked there too. I always give coupons out and stuff because I think learning how to lucid dream should be accessible and everybody should do it. But yeah, I'm on
So
all the
true.
social medias as well under the Dream World Podcast, so it should be pretty easy to find.
That's wonderful. Okay, last words about lucid dreaming before I send you off into your lucid living slash dream in waking reality.
I like to say that people get tunnel vision sometimes, like really wanting to lucid dream, which is, I get it. It's amazing. I don't blame you. But don't forget to like love all your dreams. Like they're all important as a whole. It's like a relationship with all your dreams. So yeah, love them all. Journal your dreams and just keep it up.
Oh, that's wonderful. Amina Mar, thank you so much. Everybody check out dreamworldpodcast.com. And until we all meet again, maybe we'll meet at the IASD conference. Until we all meet again,
Yes.
don't take your dreams lying down. Sweet dreams. Thanks for tuning in to Dreamifesting. If your inner light is shining a bit brighter, share the glow. Like, subscribe, and spread the word. Until next time, remember, the more you pay attention to your dreams, the better you live. The better you live, the more you lift us all. So keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep dreamifesting.